Welcome to EnglishRyan.com.
Hi, and welcome to our discussion essay writing lesson. In this lesson, we will write a discussion essay together. Our essay topic for today is this: the wealth of the United Arab Emirates has historically come from the oil deposits in Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. If Abu Dhabi runs out of oil, the UAE economy will collapse. Discuss this statement. So, firstly, the most important thing is that we fully understand the question. Now, what this question is saying is that the entire UAE economy is dependent on the oil in Abu Dhabi. If this oil finishes, the entire UAE economy will fall apart. Now, when we look at this question, we know we're going to write a discussion essay because the question word that is used is discuss. So what this means is that we're going to look at both some opinions that support the idea that if Abu Dhabi runs out of oil, the UAE economy will collapse, and we're going to look at some that refute this idea. So if Abu Dhabi runs out of oil, the UAE economy will not collapse, will not fall apart. Before we get to writing, it is very important that we understand the scope of the question. Scope is basically the areas that the question pinpoints, the areas that you are allowed to talk about. When we look at this question, there are three basic areas. One is the UAE as a whole, as a country. The next is Abu Dhabi oil reserves. So the oil that's in Abu Dhabi, we can talk about that. And finally is the UAE economy. Is another area we can talk about. Anything outside of these three areas would be incorrect. This is going off onto a tangent, and this is not something you want to include in your essay. Okay, so now the main sentence that's important in this essay question is the second sentence. If Abu Dhabi runs out of oil, the UAE economy will collapse. So because we're going to discuss this, we need to think of some points that agree with this and some points that refute this. And if refute is a new word for you, it's just the opposite of agree. So refute is also disagree. Just make this look a little bit nicer. Okay. So now if Abu Dhabi runs out of oil, the UAE economy will collapse. Well, a point that could agree with this, and I thought about this prior to making the video, is that the UAE has historically been dependent on Abu Dhabi's oil. So we'll say UAE has historically been dependent on Abu Dhabi's oil. Okay, so we can say in effect that because this has historically been true, well, this will still be true in the future. That would be a way to agree with this statement. Now, if we come down to refute it, well, perhaps we might want to argue that today there are many, many industries in the UAE that contribute to the UAE economy. So something along the lines of UAE has many industries that contribute to it. So if there is no more oil in Abu Dhabi, well, this is irrelevant because the UAE will be upheld by many different industries.